creating a phenomenal product is the best kind of marketing. So we create really good websites.
Found that content is king. Quality, useful information, no matter what algorithm it is, will always do well.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, how to grow 1% every day. This podcast is not for beginners, but instead for people looking for real answers on how to grow their company online in today's market. Joining me today is Max and Tyler from Rose and Crown, two agency owners that are helping local businesses create content and get ranked on search engines. Their new content marketing machine is one of a kind. Thank you, Max and Tyler, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Super pumped. You guys really dove in before the call of just something that you guys are doing completely different in the market and how you've created something that's very unique. Can you give me a little bit of an overview and kind of a breakdown of your agency and kind of what you have today?
Yeah, I can give you a breakdown. So I started the agency a while back, and we started actually like 6 years ago doing social media. I think everybody was doing that after like a bunch of people bought the Ty Lopez. You know what I'm talking about? That's literally how I started doing this.
It's in my garage, but now I have.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a social media agency, and then I developed it into doing more content marketing for local businesses, and just kind of stuck with contractors. Fast forward to the beginning of this year, Tyler jumped on board, and he was like, yo, we got to, kind of hit this AI thing hard. I was doing a lot of research into it. We put a lot of effort into understanding the intricacies of how to leverage AI. But what we found is like a lot of the content that AI comes up with is it can be kind of riddled with hallucinations, and that has a negative impact on search results. So even if you put a bunch of content that's written by AI on your site thinking, hey, this is going to work, it actually has a negative impact. So that's kind of like where the journey started with me and Tyler. And since then, I mean, I don't know how many months it's been, Tyler, but it's been a while. We kind of figured it out, tweaked it out, like with automations and different steps and checkings and things like that. And we've got a pretty sweet product. Yeah. You want to talk about it, Tyler?
Yeah, so I have a background in engineering. Specifically, I saw right as I graduated, luckily, ChatGPT was taking off. So I took a lot of effort into developing as much experience and knowledge in prompt engineering. Large language models are the future. And when I got in with a couple projects on large affiliate websites, just writing content, and realized that there is a formula to this. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking I could ask ChatGPT to write me a blog and it'll do well. That's not at all how it works. Really, you have to understand the niche. You have to understand what words to target. You have to, compile most of the research yourself. But ChatGPT is good at putting, the words to paper, taking a bulleted list and making it a cohesive, blog, or even brainstorming. That's a great purpose for ChatGPT. And it's just honestly, the future is AI, but you have to be very careful because doing it wrong is actually worse than doing it by hand.
Yeah.
I love that. So the combination, Max, you start the company initially, and then you bring Tyler in, who's a pure engineer and comes in with different ideologies of how to use AI and how to put that structure into place within your business. So talk about a little bit more today. How are you taking that and leveraging as a service that helps these local-based businesses?
Yeah. So we did a fair amount of research, and like the top 1% or 2% of websites that are ranking within a local search context, depending on the market size, they have like, I think around 50 blogs, maybe a little bit more, and everybody else has like 5 or 10 blogs. And so we're thinking, volume, here we go, right? This is going to be the perfect solution. But it's not just the volume that you have to crack that shell. You have to internally link the articles together with a proper sitemap. You have to have facts. You have to have snippets and stuff like that in order for the content to pass these sort of humanizer scores. And so for our clients, it's just we have a niche, and we're typically searching for local-based service industries. And then we find whoever is in the bottom of Google, and we just start contacting them and say, hey, look, you throw 100 blogs on your website, wait about 3 months, and you should be number one. And that works also with Google My Business, because you can take the articles that are created and then you can create Google My Business posts from those articles. And then we have uploaders that will upload all the content for them. And because there's so much activity on the Google My Business posts, basically the search algorithm will be like, oh, well, these guys are really active, right? And the other listings aren't as active. And since it's a local thing, it's locally competitive, depending on the local, like where you are in your search. When you search your phone, that's going to be like your location is going to depend on who's going to be the most active. A lot of search results for Google My Business is review campaigns, and we do that as well. So if you have like a place like LA, which has way more competition than Santa Barbara, which is where I'm at, you'd have to do a little bit of both, right? You do the content and the review campaign, but the review campaign automation system that we have is a little different. It's more so about getting those reviews. And a lot of business owners, honestly, they don't have time for it. It's this funniest thing. They're like, man, I'm too busy. I've got all these clients, but I just like, yeah, but you only have 6 reviews, dude. Like you gotta be, like if you have all these clients, you gotta have at least 50 reviews. Like where are your reviews at? And they're just, it's like negligence, or they're lazy, or they just are too busy, honestly. And so we come in, set up the automation for the review campaign. And then after a certain amount of time, that could be either a couple weeks or a couple days, depending on how many clients they have, really. You increase that. And then with both of those, it really jumps up.
So,
really jumps up.
Tyler, you want to add to that?
Yeah, especially when it starts working, these contractors don't have time to keep it going. It's almost like social media. People don't understand how, on YouTube, for example, they'll understand, okay, I got to post every day. I got to build momentum. I got to get followers and subscribers. They don't understand that the Google algorithm is very similar. Google actually owns YouTube. So they don't understand that it's about consistency, about talking about relevant topics. Like when the Olympics came up, all of a sudden that was dominating a search. You didn't need to write about the Olympics for, 10 years to rank for it. But if you're just talking about what's trending, you're writing good content, you will rank for it.
It seems like a lot of these business owners don't clearly understand that these search engines are based around delivering valuable content to the searchers. And you guys are doing exactly what is needed. You're going into the market, understanding where the success is, understanding, most of these people have 50 to 60 blogs. Most of them have strong, powerful reviews. And then taking a system that takes lack of effort from the business owner and real structure behind all your automations and allowing that to process behind their business so they can get up to the top of the search engines. And I love what you said, Max, about you're going to the guys that are at the bottom of the search engines, AKA people that really need the help and a service that you guys are providing that can fast track them to that area, right? So let's go into some of the trials and tribulations. You guys are obviously extremely knowledgeable about this space. When outside of just looking at their GMB and lack of reviews and say lack of blog posts, what are some major errors that people are making when it comes to ranking on SEO today, and kind of how is your company solving that?
You want to talk about that, Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are a local business, you have to use the name of your business area in your content. Like the way Google understands what your website is about, it will read if, let's say, Austin, Texas. If you don't have that littered throughout your website, then you're not going to rank for Austin, Texas. Google's very smart; they can understand that. There is, you can't keyword stuff, which is intentionally adding these keywords all over the place. Google understands that, and how they determine whether your website is good for someone is search intent. If you're doing the research yourself and trying to find what you should write about, you search up a keyword and you look at the top 5 to 10 results and see, okay, what is Google recommending and how do I align with these results? So if you're writing about a word that you may think, like, let's say, heels. There are heels for men, but you're going to look it up and it's going to be all women's products. So you have to understand that, writing about men's heels is not going to do well. You have to find another avenue to get traffic to that part of the website.
Yeah, and you basically want to get into the mind of their customer. So like if we're talking contractors, let's keep it to the same niche. We want to be able to be like, what is someone going to be searching online when they're going to go remodel the kitchen, right? They just bought a house, they need to remodel the kitchen, they need to remodel the bathroom. So what are they going to be searching for? Probably things like tile, or shaker style cabinets, or bathroom, bathroom paints that don't, aren't affected by mold, something like that. So the customer, you want to think about like what they are going to be searching for, and then write the articles for our client's website that answers those questions, and then pre-sells the customer on their content to book a call. So it's like you're answering their questions. they're feeling comfortable to stay on the website because it's all internally linked. All the articles lead to each other. So their attention's on your website. And then all of the information that we put into the blogs are gauged like to engineer a call. It's like, hey, book a call, make an appointment here, all of these kind of funnel the attention down to an action. And you really do that by building trust. And the only way you build trust is by having content that actually makes sense,
That's useful. And also when you're doing the preliminary research, there's two key metrics you have to understand when you're choosing, what words to target, what search queries to target, and it's the keyword difficulty and the search volume. So ideally you want as much search volume as possible, but there are certain terms that are just so difficult to rank for that you might just want the low keyword difficulty. And really what we recommend to our clients is keyword difficulties of 0 with a new website have a chance to succeed. Like you can compile a big list using tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush to find what these words are, especially local terms. You'll find out, okay, kitchen cabinets in Austin, right? That you will be pretty hard. But if you look at, specific things like shaker cabinets, like Max mentioned, that is very commonly searched, but not too many people write about it. So it's like a supply and demand thing where you're looking for where's the demand, but no one else is supplying the information. And websites that include information with guides perform better for SEO. If people are looking up, tutorials or explanations, you're going to be able to write that useful content. Stuff like, let's say, shopping, you're not going to be able to do as well unless you own an e-commerce store. So you really have to understand that there's different search features in Google, and you have to have different ranking strategies for each search.
Yeah.
For everybody listening, how knowledgeable are these two? Obviously, they're on top of it, right? So you guys are diving into categories that are so finite that you're understanding the platforms on the back end of the SEO algorithm, which, again, if you're new and you're listening to this, SEO, search engine optimization, basically ranking on these search articles or these search indexes to make sure that your business is number one. And, there's some information you sent over beforehand, Tyler, which is very, very interesting, such as the fact that about 17% of actual customers that come from organic are going to convert compared to about the 1 to 2% we're seeing from paid ads, which is 100% factual. Why? It's a more educational position. It's not a pushy sales position. It's based off information, and you are there where the customer is looking for you instead of forcing yourself onto the customer. You guys are obviously on top of it. I want to backtrack a little bit. And Max, I have some questions for you as the originator of the company. You obviously have changed the company a bit. You went from content development now into this new position of heavily focused in SEO. Can you tell me the reason why you changed it and kind of your growth path of this business as you've gone through these years?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, started with social media, learned how to rank, a bunch of different people's social media platforms. And what we found was conversion rates for social media account growing just like really wasn't making our clients that much money. And we were kind of like, man, you really have to do paid ads in order to make any sort of money on social media. So we started doing that as well. And as the agency grew, I kind of realized that like good quality content is always going to be king. And so I had to learn how to make really good quality content that builds trust. And like our agency, we kind of did a word of mouth, basically referral only, and we grew pretty quickly. But we focused on, my background was in Apple. I worked at Apple for 8 years. And so like I took a lot of those principles from Apple, which is like creating a phenomenal product is the best kind of marketing. So we create really good websites with really good content. And like that was our selling piece. And then as AI came in, I kind of looked at it and I was like, holy shit, dude, like this is going to change some stuff, And so I figured we might as well get ahead of the curve and just like really embrace this and try and make it work. And I think that we have a window of time where this is going to be an offer, like a product offer that will be effective for probably 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. And then as AI gets smarter and smarter, then there's not really going to be a need for the intricacies of our automation of the things that we've put in, because it'll just know it already. It'll be so smart. Like, I don't know when the new version of ChatGPT is going to come around, but it's going to be soon, and it's going to be so much better. And it's just going to keep going that way. And then as soon as like Sora comes out, Like ad agencies are going to have to like really be on their stuff. Like you got to be known for something as an agency. Like if you want to build an agency, might as well, you got to do now. You got to start now, because as these technologies come out, the competition is going to go through the roof. And the only way to retain and to like build your agency successfully going forward, I think, is going to be through like referral and like how good quality your stuff is, and how well you know the algorithms. Because as the AI advances, so does Google's algorithm, and the ranking factors change. They've changed over the 5-6 years I've been doing this. Ranking factors have changed all over the place. And as social media it was a big thing 5 years ago, and then it kind of died off, and now it's coming back. Like these things you have to be aware of, and you got to stay sharp. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And Max, in just an incredible position as a business owner, where you've taken your company where you knew the value of developing content, but became so malleable through the process that even as AI got introduced, you were able to pivot so quickly and leverage it to the best of the revenue. And again, revenue generating efforts that we're talking about here. We're not talking about efforts that are just going to make you look good or get new posts up on your newsfeed. These are efforts that are actually putting you in a position to generate more revenue. So yeah, Max, I absolutely love that from the background at Apple and how you brought that into the products that you're leveraging today inside the company. Tyler, I'm going to pivot over to you because, being the new engineer that kind of came into the business in the last, year or so here and evolved it with using AI prompts and things of that nature. I'm curious if you can dive in a little bit more onto the secrets that you brought into the company for improving his process and what's already in place, and kind of what it's done to improve the overall content and the secrets of really putting good content and blogs out there into the internet.
Yeah, so I actually started in social media as well, and we had like massive accounts doing huge numbers, about 10 million per month. And we realized that just the dollars per view were just horrible compared to a website. Like when people are on a website, they have their computer up usually, versus on social media, they're on their phone. They have a different frame of mind. They're usually looking for useful information. So when the comparison was like 100 times the views or the dollars per view on a website. So, this was a conversation I had when I first joined with Max, is like, it's the highest return on investment. The whole point of social media anyway is to get them to the website. So if the website is generating traffic organically because of the useful guides, you might not even need social media. And we have in some of our marketing material, don't worry about social media until your website is making you money.
Yeah.
Because
at the end of the day, it's 100%, even with paid ads. There's so many times, right, where a client thinks he's got the best business in the world and his website's amazing because he spent $20,000 on it. And I'm like, your conversion rate's less than 1. So it doesn't matter how much you spent here. No matter how much money you spend on paid ads, you're going to just be burning cash at the end of the day.
Yeah, and to the content stuff, and I know Max mentioned that it'll be completely different in 2 years. I can take a step back, and Rose and Crown was writing all of the content by hand. They were doing all of the research, and it was expensive. That's why they were focused on social media and all these other avenues, because all of the writers were adding up in costs. Now we're at a point where ChatGPT and other like Jasper AI that can write, they can compile the text. They can't do research very well.
Right.
So we're not all the way there where the blogs can write themselves, but we've realized that, okay, we'll cut this costly thing, which is putting the words to paper, but we still are doing the research by hand. We're still finding the words and searches that are necessary. A big part of it is referencing other websites with external links. So we're finding high domain authority, very credible websites. We're taking the useful facts, we're giving them to our viewers who are on the website, and we're also showing Google that we're well connected to other high authority sites, which is something that you can't really do with ChatGPT. Even if you ask it, hey, find me some facts, with number one, it refuses to give you sources until you beg it to give you sources. Then you click the sources and they don't even exist. So I don't know if that's the engineers themselves not giving you that information, or it's a limitation with ChatGPT, but you have to do the research yourself. And even when it does give you information, it's just not the high converting information. It's just some random idea that it picked up related to your topic. Like if you understand that particular market, you understand the customer, you can come up with better resources, better facts. And it's really, you don't get much time on these websites. You
Mhm.
get, the average view time is less than a minute on a website. So if
Yeah.
you're giving them random BS facts just so you can look better, you're gonna, kill your conversion rate. Google also understands, like, based on their recommendation algorithm, is if people are jumping off your website because they don't like it, it's not going to recommend it. If people
Mhm.
spend 5 minutes on your website reading through this detailed guide, breaking down the different types of cabinets, it's going to
Mhm.
be like, okay, wow, these people know what they're doing. People are staying, they're very interested in this information.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
go ahead, Tyler. Or go ahead, Max. I apologize.
I was just gonna say, like, Tyler also brought it with the automation backgrounds, and just like he's really really smart with the engineering aspect. He kind of opened my eyes to not just automation of content, but automation of customer experience. And so what I mean by that is, like, we can now create, it's a high ticket, it's our highest ticket offer, but what we can do is we'll go into your business and automate all of the small tasks. So when a customer books an appointment, there's immediate follow-up text, confirming the appointment, or a follow-up review, confirming making sure that the people aren't falling through the cracks with reviews, scheduling, stuff like that. And so those were, use Go High Level and make automations and stuff like that to make sure that it's kind of a closed loop. And what we found is when you have more touch points per customer, or if you have more touch points per lead, your conversion rate goes way up, right? And so if you're doing cold outbound or whatever, if that's part of your strategy is like cold email or cold outreach at all, you can set up these automations to do all of this stuff for you. Or we also use like VAs, like virtual assistants, to do those things as well by hand. So if you're trying to reach new businesses, like if you're trying to reach a new, if you're in LA and you're trying to expand out to Palm Springs, and then you basically set up these automations to do like cold outreach on multiple different platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever it is, whoever your audience is that you're trying to reach. And that is really complicated. Like setting that stuff up, you have to start basically from scratch. Like if it's a contractor that has an old website and they're looking to redo their website, then we could build it into the new website. But if they just want to do the automations, it's like, it's kind of impossible to take their like laundry list of clients that they've all had and then enter it into an automation. So you have to set this stuff up from the beginning, and then you have to manage it. But it is something that is useful for people, especially if it's like a smaller contractor that has, a team size of like 3 to 5. You can throw these automations in, and then it's almost as if your team size just went like 8 to 12. Because there's so many different touch base, like so many different touch points for these contractors to either like hunt down the leads that have shown interest, or to find those reviews that they really need to like boost up their search rankings.
And guys, for listeners, you got to understand that you can find these services and you could find these processes in Salesforce for $10,000 a month, or for inside of Builder Trend, which is going to cost you $2,000 to $3,000 a month every single time. And then they own your data, they own the integrations, they own the processes. While Tyler and Max here are building it internal to your business so that you own the process and the procedure behind it. You're actually leveraging the systems of automations to not only control the customer communication, the customer cycle throughout your business, but take the stress off of your shoulders as a business owner. How many people have a $20 to $30 an hour assistant in their front office that their same job could be done through automations, through email and integrations through their CRM system? I mean, you two are a badass combo. I'm not going to lie. Max, the development of your story and where you've gotten so far into the business and how malleable with how you are, even for the fact of your understanding and your education. And then Tyler, for you to come in and understand where Max has built this thing and just upgrade it, put a steroid boost in the automation structure to really take it to the next level, builds a beautiful system here between you two. And it really sounds like you are there to help business owners structure themselves in a way that not only will get them to the top of maps, the top of search inquiries so that they're seen, but also do that with increased volume to their business of leads while reducing the amount of work that is coming. This is 21st century marketing and advertising. If you guys haven't seen this before, this is where I believe the world overall is going to, where the world is change to, is that every single client or every single business will have their own internal CRM system. They'll have their own automations. They'll have a VA supporting them. That's, if someone asked me, where do I think the market's going to go in the general marketing and advertising realm in the next 5 to 10 years, it's less employees, more touch points, more empathy, better connection to the customers, and a better understanding of their unique customer profile and how to resonate with that business using AI and using systems that will eventually be able to create images and videos for you. What do you guys see it as in the next 5 to 10 years, especially in your realm where you're deep into AI right now, you're deep into the automations? Where do you believe the marketing world's going to be in the next 5 years? Tyler, I would love for you to start, and then Max, I'd love you to hit it off because you've started the company from the beginning. But Tyler, as the engineer, where do you see this real change or what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, we are noticing that platforms that have viewership, Facebook, Instagram, Google even, are taking advantage of that monopoly almost. They're charging more and more. If you look at the rates of paid advertisement over the last 5-10 years, it's going up exponentially because they realize that they have control of the viewership and they can really charge whatever they want. So in the next 5 to 10 years, paid ads are going to become extremely expensive. So, I know you guys do that here. Get in while it's good because it's only going to get more expensive. In terms of AI, which is going to be a big role, we've had some experience with the basic video generation, text to image. It can't do faces very well. It can't do brands or text, but that's going to change very quickly. And really, we're thinking we need to build up the client base for people that can use this stuff, because I could spend all the time in the world learning this, but unless I find a useful, profitable, valuable purpose for this stuff, it's not even valuable to know how to do this. Like, and I can exploit some of the limitations of the text to image generation. I had a pretty big following for some car accounts, and I was trying to make some fantasy images where a car was drifting on a mountain with some tire smoke. Now, it was making the car perfect. It was making the mountain perfect. But as soon as I combined those variables, it couldn't do it. Right? And even when you put a previously generated image in and you ask it to repurpose the image, now add some effects, now add the mountain in the background, now the car looks like a mess. It doesn't even look real anymore. So these things, you can see some social media or some advertisements or even thumbnails that are including these AI images. They're going to get better. And, really you have to embrace these things. We focus more on the writing aspect. We're doing the research, but we're also looking at, how are we designing these algorithms? And you see a very similar, pattern with ChatGPT. If you set up 15 parameters for writing a blog, all the facts, all of the websites you want to reference, all of the keywords you want to include, it doesn't understand it. It picks like 3 to 5 seemingly at random to write about. So you really have to use like Make or Zapier to set a multi-stage automation that one scrapes, successful content. It will then understand what it is. It'll pull the valuable information. You then go in and look at it and, prioritize, look at the other, keyword data, the customer profile, and then you ask it for an outline. Then you ask it to expand on the outline. Then you ask it to, write each paragraph specifically. Then you ask it to, add call to actions here. Like, it's not going to do it well if you ask it, even if you literally have defined all of these things in one prompt, you have to actually spread it out and give it a chance to read over what it's done and add more information.
Very good. And you believe that it's going to continue, or do you think that process will improve over time?
Honestly, it will get easier. The bar is just going to keep getting lower and lower and lower. So what you need to do now is, get a following, build a brand. You need to have, a big email list. We were actually studying exits because we know that industry might, be replaced. So we're thinking, okay, what factors and criteria are important for an exit, and an email list. People that actually regularly want to consume your content significantly increases the evaluation of your company. Same thing with followers on social media. You want your brand, even for the people who aren't paying, you just want to have that big influence. Like, you're seeing influencer marketing just blow up because, you could pay Facebook to show your content. That's fine. But if you have a celebrity who's in your brand talking about it, that's just way more impactful for the consumers. So we're going to push as the bar gets lower, as, ChatGPT can do these multi-stage things in one prompt. We're going to see you have to be a lot more authentic in the future. You have to, rely on really resonating and being emotional.
Love that, Tyler. Max, you said that you ran the company for multiple years, and then the recent change has happened when you brought Tyler in. Do you find that there's going to be another change in the near future, or where do you see this industry going the next 5 years?
Totally, it's such a good question. So, like I said before, like we have a window of time where this is going to be really effective. In that meantime, Tyler and I are going to start doing like business interviews. We're going to start like a podcast where we're going to go and interview business owners and kind of get to the nitty gritty of their online presence and how we would fix it. Eventually, what we're going to probably end up doing is more sort of like consulting. We'll be hired on by larger scale businesses to come in, fix their automations, and maybe train someone on their team on how to do everything that we do. Like that's how we could sustain Rose and Crown's presence, is like being the source of knowledge, because even though everybody knows what ChatGPT is or how to use it, like very few people understand it, and you have to be able to understand the intricacies of it in order for it to be effective. And so we are kind of like coming in, guns blazing and being like, look, we've done a ton of research and we're here to help you guys. So the consulting packages will probably be somewhere around, I don't know, we haven't figured out the price yet, but it'd be like, you hire us, we teach either one person in your team or three people in your team on how to do everything that we're doing. And then you are the marketing agency. Like you don't need us anymore. Right. So it's like, here, we're going to give you all the tools. We'll teach you how to do everything. And then we'll step back. And then if you need us, you can always hire us again, but we'll do these in packages. And so like, it starts with, here, let's do an interview. Let's see what you want to do. Let's see how you want to grow. Let's see how you want to connect with your customers. If there's another, channel of advertising that you're not thinking of, and then cool, we'll write you up like a blueprint on how to do that. And then you can hire us to train your team. We'll set up everything for you. And then it's just hands off. And then we'll just go, one to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah, people just don't have the time to understand the changes in the algorithm. Mm-hmm. Google has pushed more updates in the last year than they have in the last 5 years, because they realize how fast the market is changing. So, you're a business owner, you're focused on making content for your business. You don't know that this big change has happened. And we see ourselves as being able to work 10, 100 times as efficiently by training people, giving them the tools and experience that we have very efficiently, so that they can then work for, because every business owner knows more about their business. So giving them our perspective, what we know about our business, so that they can properly educate and provide the real value to their customers is where we see the future of this being.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think Alex Ramosi says a great in $100 million leads about how he leverage agencies. He talks about bringing them in, absorbing their knowledge, understanding what they do, bringing it into your business, and then moving on and moving forward past them. But exactly what you said, Max, I believe is the near future, which is marketing agencies that are third-party agencies become almost obsolete. As agencies like you guys, how transparent you are on this call, I do the same thing in our business. The transparency starts highlighting let's call it what it is, the bullshit that's been out there for years, right? There's so many people today that want to be on Forbes, but don't even put their meta tags on their website, and they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. Actually structured to be success. And I think the more transparency there is in this field, the less agencies there's going to be, and the more sprint structures or foundational build outs, like what you guys are talking about. We'll come in, we'll build out that foundation for you and teach you how to do it, but then you can run it yourself. As you said, Tyler, they don't have the time, unfortunately, especially with all the adjustments Google have done, and now being in the lawsuit that they currently are, being a monopoly for search. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months with that search engine. There could be a whole new search index that comes out that we need to be able to be ready for. And the truth is, there's foundational facts like what you brought up in the beginning, Max, of every single one of these sites that are ranking have 50 blogs. So that's a foundational aspect that proves success, right? So the foundations will hold true, but some of the changes that are going to happen, people need to be ready to pivot. But I think with people like you, Max, running a business like this, and the education you have, Tyler, as an engineer in the new world of AI and prompts, gives an opportunity for transparency and an opportunity for true understanding of how to leverage these correctly to move forward. You two are awesome. Right. I've done a lot of these, and, I really hope that if you guys ever run a podcast, I get to join you in the process, because you guys are great to have on. Your education, your knowledge is awesome. I do have one bonus question, but I do have one additional question I'd love to ask both of you to see if we can pull a little bit more knowledge out of you before the end of this call. Any recommendations that you guys would have? Obviously, when you come in, you set up the automations, you set up a lot of the SEO factors, but is there something that these businesses should be doing before they ever meet you, just to be prepped and ready for 2024 and beyond, and be in a situation to be successful and not deal with, say, buying fake bots or fake traffic or things of that nature, but real factors that people need to know today so that they're not only ready for their business to be successful online, but also to understand how to use AI in the future?
I mean, the point that you just mentioned with all the changes and evolutions, we've found that content is king. Quality, useful information, no matter what algorithm it is, will always do well. So we want to make sure before these business owners work with us that they know what their customers are looking for. They understand their market very well, and they're coming to us to help translate that to their online presence.
Yeah, because content is king, because content builds trust, and trust, especially if you're transparent, trust builds customer relationships, and then you're going to see as the business grows and you have a really good reputation, then you have organic marketing going along with the whole digital thing. So it's like, I guess just make sure that it sounds so cliche, but just put a little bit of effort into posting, like they don't have a time to do it. And it's like literally every single conversation is like, I'm just too busy. But you can make time, especially with using AI, but you got to make sure you got to do it right. And then like we can just do bulk too. Like we could create an entire year's worth of content or entire 2 years worth of content for them and just deliver it to them. And then they just have to upload it. Like that's another great like solution. But it's really just consistency. That's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, it's better to post twice a week than once every day and then just drop off for a couple months. Like consistency is key. The algorithm can recognize that more for social media, but it's still true. Google is an algorithm. You can go viral the same way. That's the big thing people don't understand. They'll come to us, they'll be like, okay, I'm designing my website. That is just for conversions. That's just where my ads go. Like it's the foundation for everything, honestly. You do the ads to get them to the website. You do the social media to get them to the website. So really before you go, chasing all these crazy new, I got to do this email campaign. It's like, no, get the foundation right. Get your brand looking good. Get your website valuable and well put together. Make sure that you're not losing people on, some part of your funnel. Start at the bottom, make sure the bottom converts, and then build your way up to the top of the funnel.
Start at the bottom and then work your way back up. I love that. Max and Tyler from Rose and Crown, awesome overall podcast, great amount of knowledge. How would people be able to find you?
Yeah, you can just search on Google Rose and Crown Marketing. We should pop up, or you can go to our website, rose the letter N crown.co. You can also email me, Max at Rose and Crown, Tyler at Rose and Crown. Or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Love that. You guys, listen, if you are a business that is looking to develop a foundation that is going to be set for the next 5 to 10 years to come, because AI is not going anywhere, right? These foundational aspects of what they're talking about with content development is not going anywhere. And if you find yourself on the lower portion of Google's first page or not even seen on Google Maps, you need to contact Max and Tyler from Rose and Crown. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate you. If you've watched this whole episode, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and wait out for the next one.